The forest was unusually quiet that afternoon, the kind of silence that presses against your ears and makes every snapped twig sound like a warning, and Aaron felt it deep in his chest as he moved through the dense wilderness with steady, practiced steps, a man shaped by years of solitude and survival, living off-grid after life had taken everything from him. He was checking his traps when a sudden, sharp scream cut through the air, raw and desperate, not the sound of an animal but of a human. In real pain, and without thinking, Aaron ran, branches clawing at his arms, boots pounding against damp earth until he burst into a small clearing where he saw her collapsed near a fallen log, her face pale, eyes wide with terror, one hand clutching her ankle as a thick, dark snake slithered away into the undergrowth. He reached her in seconds, dropping to his knees as she gasped that she'd been bitten, her voice trembling, panic already creeping in as venom began its cruel work, and Aaron didn't hesitate. He'd seen snake bites before, knew time was the enemy. He tore a strip from his shirt to bind above the wound, kept his voice calm as he told her to breathe, to stay awake, to look at him, even as her expensive hiking boots and immaculate clothes struck him as out of place in this unforgiving wilderness. He worked fast, expertly, cleaning the wound with water from his canteen, fashioning a splint, lifting her gently as if she weighed nothing, carrying her on his back through miles of rough terrain toward his secluded cabin, the only shelter for days in any direction. By the time they reached it, her strength was fading, her words slurring, and Aaron fought fear he hadn't felt in years as he laid her on his rough wooden bed, mixing herbs, using an old emergency anti-venom he'd bartered for long ago, praying it was enough. Through the long night, he stayed by her side, wiping sweat from her brow, forcing her to sip water, talking to her so she wouldn't drift away, and in broken sentences she told him her name was Eliza, that she'd gotten separated from her guide, that she thought she was going to die out there alone, and something in her voice cracked open a door in Aaron's chest he'd kept sealed for a long time. Dawn finally came, golden light spilling through the trees, and when Eliza's fever broke and her breathing steadied, relief hit him so hard he had to sit down, hands shaking, realizing he'd just saved a stranger's life. Over the next few days, as she recovered slowly in his cabin, they talked, really talked, about life, loss, and the strange turns that bring people together, and Aaron learned she wasn't just some lost hiker but the sole heiress to one of the largest private fortunes in the country, a woman raised in luxury who had come to the wilderness to escape a life where everyone wanted something from her. Aaron laughed softly at the irony. A man with nothing saving a woman who had everything, and Eliza looked at him with a seriousness that made his breath catch as she told him that no amount of money had ever made her feel as safe as she did in that rough cabin. When a rescue helicopter finally thundered overhead days later, summoned by a signal flare Aaron had set once she was strong enough to move, Eliza took his hand, tears in her eyes, promising she wouldn't disappear back into her world without finding him again, and as she was lifted away, Aaron stood alone in the clearing, thinking that some moments change you forever. Weeks later, a sleek black SUV appeared at the edge of the forest, utterly out of place among the trees, and Eliza stepped out, not in designer clothes this time, but in simple jeans and boots, telling Aaron she'd walked away from the expectations, the pressure, the empty relationships, because being near death had shown her what mattered, and she offered him not money, not rewards, but a choice, to build something real together, on his terms, with mutual respect. As Aaron looked at the woman who had survived because he refused to walk away, he realized the wilderness hadn't taken everything from him after all. It had given him a second chance, and if this story of courage, fate, and unexpected love moved you even a little, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because every subscription helps bring more powerful, life-changing stories like this to your screen, and you never know which story might change the way you see the world.